Hey, Katie, welcome. How are you?
Hello. Thanks for coming, everybody.
It's amazing to have you here to share your story and your experience with affiliate marketing and how you were able to achieve those results. So let's dive into it. The first question for you is I have for you is basically if you can explain your story and how you started this affiliate marketing journey.
Well, I'm a pharmacist, and it got to the point that with everything with COVID, I became overworked and my health got greatly affected, not only mentally, physically, and emotionally. So at the time, I decided that, it's time to level up my skills and to try to be a productive member of the digital economy. So I started affiliate marketing as a side hustle.
Okay, so you were working as a pharmacist during that COVID phase, and I imagine how hard that was because of all the craziness that happened, right?
Yeah, I was considered a essential worker, so I was working and actually even overworked, I think, at the point. And it really affected my health to the point that
Yeah.
life was not very nice. So yeah, I mean, I know that COVID has changed everybody's lives, but it made me realize that I'm living in a world that is no longer existent. I have to actually have a growth mindset and learn more to what the future is going to bring.
Yeah, it's amazing that you took the steps to learn something new and to step out of your comfort zone and to find something better for your life that doesn't affect your health so much. So how many hours were you working in that job at the time?
At the time, I was working maybe even 40, 50 hours, depending on what was needed. Uh, you know, the demands were very great. And it got to
Yeah.
the point that, you start to question, you know, is it really worth it? You don't get to spend time with family every time that you need to do things. I mean, this even happened prior to the COVID. So I just thought, maybe it's time to pivot.
Yeah. And when did you start your affiliate marketing journey?
I believe it's about over 2 years ago, actually.
So in 2021.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. And when you started your affiliate marketing journey, what was your first step? So did you start searching on Google? Did you start searching on YouTube? How did you find affiliate marketing when you started exploring the online world?
I think I did everything. I mean, there was not a lack of information. It's just knowing who to listen to, what to do. There is never a lack of information. It's just to narrow it down and having a concise roadmap of actually what's needed. And you buy into the $7 program, and it's just leading you. It's almost like clickbait, right? To the point that maybe they can solve your struggles, they can solve your problems. But I soon realized that no, there is a lot more to affiliate marketing than just simply, advertising something, having a link, and they will give you the results. We all want instant gratification, but it doesn't always work that way.
Yeah, exactly. So when you started, first you started with free trainings, or you started buying those $7 programs. What
Uh,
you do? What were your first steps?
I started out as the $11 program, and from there, they actually had a training program, and it required a lot of tech. It required a lot of understanding, different funnels. And then I got to the point that I actually did a done it for you because I was just so frustrated. And the coach that I was having couldn't even launch my funnel. So I was like, oh, I'm never going to get anywhere. So I wanted to make it move a little bit quicker. So I actually invested even more.
Yeah, awesome. So it's amazing that you started investing in yourself, and that's one of the best things we can do. And what you are sharing there is a very common problem people face, and I know that because I've been working with you for a long time. That tech is a big problem for you, right?
Yes, it is. Things have changed so much. I mean, I've been a pharmacist for just so long, and the mindset is completely different. The world has completely changed. I mean, the conditionings that I had when I was younger is completely different. I mean, you trusted everything and you took it as fact. But when you see it in front of you, 5-year-old millionaires, people going on YouTube's, I mean, it's unbelievable, how the world has changed so much. People don't even need a college degree. I mean, Google doesn't even require you to have a college degree. You just need to be able to produce and get the results. So ultimately, I knew that having a fixed mindset is not going to get me anywhere. So you have to invest in yourself. I think one of the
Yeah.
biggest problems that people think is that they can do it themselves. Time is an asset that we all have, and it's invaluable. However, you want to really invest in shortcuts and finding the right mentor. You need to really understand, there's so many different factors. You may resonate with one person or another, but just don't buy into the story of, they can give you the world and, it's instant gratification. Because actually, I think sometimes, you attract what you are, not what you want. And oftentimes we want everything, but the work has to be done.
Yeah. Yeah, it takes work, and you mentioned a few things there that are very important to understand, especially when starting. First one is the instant gratification, which in society we are basically trained to expect instant gratification. We work a few hours and we get paid. And when we start an online business, it's completely different, because we need to be ready to work for free for months until we see any results. And this is what stops a lot of people from getting results, and a lot of people give up in the way, because there is so much we need to change mindset wise. And mindset, we are going to talk a bit about that, because it was something that we worked a lot together for you. But it's something that stops a lot of people, because a lot of people jump into the online game with these high expectations that they are going to make 10K a month in 90 days, and that they are going to get rich tomorrow. And then when it doesn't happen, a lot of people give up. So if I can shift your perspective to you guys that are watching, expect this to be hard, expect this to take time, expect this to 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 have a lot of expect to have a lot of struggle yourself in your journey, because you need to change a lot of your beliefs from society, especially uh, if you are not if you don't have any business background. So everything we are told since we are born, when we jump into the online space, we see that a lot of these things are just things things people tell us to program us, and for us to do what's right for the society. For example, getting a job, getting a college degree, all those things. Okay, and when you jump online, we need to change all these beliefs, and we need to do a lot of growth mentally and mindset wise to be able to achieve results. So great share you did there. Another thing you mentioned is saving time. So time is our biggest asset, and I did that myself. So in the first few months of my journey, I spent months trying everything by myself, months. So, and that was a waste of time. Now I look back, and it was a waste of time, because I could have accelerated my growth if I invested in myself, and I could, or if I got help from someone. So, because money is a tool that comes and goes, but time never comes back. Time goes away, and we never get it back. So it's important that we have a mindset, and again, this comes from the mindset. When we jump online, we need to have a mindset of uh, trying to get help to accelerate results. And to this day, I've invested a lot of money in my journey. You invested a lot of money in your journey to be able to get speed in that journey, and to avoid tons of mistakes, because that's what investing in yourself allows you to do, is to avoid mistakes, because you are learning from someone that is already doing what you want to do. Okay, so thanks for sharing that. Any additional comments on that?
I just think that, people would rather spend maybe 20, 30 years in a job, whereas, building a business, let's say if it's 3, even 4 or 5 years, they don't make that commitment because they don't believe in themselves. And I think one of the most important things at the end of the day is that you have to believe that it's going to work. And, at the very beginning, André had the belief in all his students. I see this, that, if you don't believe in it, he believes in it. And it's contagious, that you will see the success. he always tells us, it's not a matter of when. I mean, it's not a matter if, it's going to be a matter when. And, there have been many days that, you see the struggles, you see the challenges, but also, I've also learned that, sometimes the struggles, the challenges that you experience are actually blessings, because it actually teaches you even more than just what you are doing in affiliate marketing.
Yeah, and that's a sentence that I love. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Because as long as you don't stop, you'll get there. But a lot of people give up along the way. But if you do the work every single day and you keep improving your skills every single day and becoming 1% better every single day, as long as you don't stop and you extend your time horizon and you have a mindset of, I'm going to keep doing it, whatever it takes, whatever challenge shows up in front of me, I'm going to keep doing, and I'm here to build something sustainable for years and years to come. As long as you don't stop, you'll get there. It just takes time to develop the necessary skills to get there. And you gave a good example. A lot of people spend 5 years in university to get a degree, but they jump online and they want to get results in 90 days, which is and it's not just people's fault, it's also how it's marketed online by a lot of gurus, because a lot of gurus say you can get results in 90 days, you can get rich tomorrow, and unfortunately when you start you see that it's not real, and it takes developing a lot of skills, a lot of work, consistency, changing a lot of your beliefs and mindset. So it's a journey of a lot of personal growth.
Exactly. And I believe it's also from where you are starting, because there are, a lot of people who have the skills prior, or they've been at a job that they had to utilize different skills and they don't have to acquire as much, or they've already learned, closing, or they've learned the business aspect. But for me, as a healthcare provider, business was the farthest thing from my mind. But I realized that, one of the essence is that you have to be able to communicate effectively. It doesn't, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter all the tech skills. It requires you to communicate very effectively to convey your message very efficiently, and that you actually are able to gauge what the situation is, what the emotions are, what people's struggles are. And it took me a long time to understand that, actually.
Yeah, and that's a skill that you not only improve for your field marketing business, but it's a skill you improve for your life. And
Exactly.
I've had you telling me this, and other people that are working with me telling me this, that the skills they learn not only help them with their field marketing businesses, but they improve the way, for example, they approach their personal relationships when communicating with people in their lives. So these are skills that are useful not only for your business but also for your life. And communication is very important, and we are going to dive into that in one of the next questions to explain how you were able to achieve that 4K commission. Before we dive into that, you mentioned something about the tech. So the tech is, so you tried the funnels, you tried the done for you systems, and for me tech was not difficult because I have an IT background, so I jumped online, and for me the tech was the comfort zone. So I spent a lot of time in the tech building automations and building funnels. I had 15 funnels. I had multiple email sequences. I was setting up tracking. I had multiple things, multiple automations with Zapier, which is a software that allows you to integrate multiple software. So I was doing all these bells and whistles. And after a lot of time spent on that, I had all of that, but I didn't get I was not able to get results, and that was when I started realizing, okay, I have all these tools, but I'm not being able to get results, and I started realizing, okay, I need something else, and that's when I started understanding, okay, for me to be able to sell a product, I need to learn how to market and how to sell, because we can have all the tools and all the best tools in the world, but if we don't have the skills to use those tools, the tools by themselves don't make the money. It's our ability to market and sell that makes the money. And this is something I see happening with a lot of people when they jump online, is getting stuck in the tech and spending a lot of time in the tech, and while doing that they are not building their audiences, they are not producing content, they are not putting offers in front of people, which are the activities that make the money. Is getting attention? nurturing that attention and putting offers in front of people. But we at the beginning, and I did that too, we tend to spend a lot of time in the tech, and we are not making progress in the activities that make the money and in the skills that are necessary to make the money.
I completely agree. And I was the opposite. I didn't have the tech skills. So I went and actually hired somebody to try to help me. Then I even did a do it for you program. But what I realized is that no matter what, all the tech is not going to make the sale. It's going to be the foundations, understanding the situation, understanding who your avatar is, what are their psychographics, what are their, demographics, understanding how to communicate with them to actually gain their know, like, and trust factor, right?
Yeah.
You actually have to brand yourself as that you want to add value. At the end of the day, is repeated many, many times. Regardless of the tech, you need to actually add value. You need to be presentable, that, you are just somebody that's willing to help. Like Andre says, give without the expectation of anything in return. Always, right? Because you're actually nurturing the relationship. I I spent so much time working with Andre that I've actually ingrained these values, and it's very important. At the first thing, I was one of those people that I could regurgitate a lot. I actually memorized a lot. But at the end of the day, it didn't help me because I didn't understand the situation. I couldn't gauge it. And that was one of people can tell, where you are on your journey. And you can also gauge where other people are on their journey and where you can help them and the challenges they're experiencing, that maybe it was, 6 months ago or, 2 weeks ago that you experienced it. Because ultimately you're doing a journey, right? There is no right or wrong, but some people will resonate with you because of the value you provide. But one of the most important things is, which I always was scared about, was being visible. The visibility actually makes you even more vulnerable. But being vulnerable, it actually makes you a real person. Nobody wants a Superman, right? There's no problems. There's something that has a relatability factor. Everybody has their own story. That's what makes you unique. So, I encourage everyone, to be a little bit vulnerable. Show them, that you have to have these struggles. I've had these struggles. And actually, Andre's helped me a lot.
Awesome. And glad I was able to help you in your journey. And you mentioned a few things that are key. I wrote and took a few notes of what you said. So first one was relationships. That's key. That's key. We need to prioritize relationships over anything else. Because if we are on this for the long term, and that's the mindset I want to encourage you guys to have, is to look at this as something for the long term, not just a quick buck. Okay. Yes, you can jump into an opportunity and make a quick buck, but that will be gone in a few months if you don't learn the skills. Okay. So if you are in this for the long term, you need to develop your skills and you need to focus on building relationships. This is key. So focus on helping people and putting them first, not looking at people as dollar signs. Because when you look at people as dollar signs, they feel it right away. If you approach a relationship and a conversation and the first thing you do is pitch a product, you repel people. So you need to be in this with the mindset of serving people, helping people, because the more you help people win, the more you help people solve the problems they have, achieve the results they want to achieve, and achieve growth in their businesses or their lives or whatever niche you are helping people with. Wealth, health, relationship, doesn't matter the niche. You need to help people, and the more you help other people win, the more you win. But people jump online with this mindset, oh, I want to make money, and the instant gratification. And I had that mindset too when I started. And that repels people. So relationships are everything, and that's something I learned along the way, and I try to teach my students is to prioritize relationship over anything else. And another thing you said is the putting yourself out there and the being vulnerable, because that's key. Because people, and that's how you can overcome competition. A lot of people are afraid of the competition in the affiliate marketing space, and the market is saturated. But if you are yourself and you put yourself out there, you start eliminating competition because people resonate with you as a person, with your stories. People relate with your stories. People relate with you and the way you speak and the way you interact with them. Okay, so if you put yourself out there, you'll start attracting people that resonate with you and repelling people that don't resonate with you, which is totally cool. Okay, and those people that resonate with you will start consuming, will start paying attention, and those will become your raving fans that will want to work with you. So that's very, very important. And we see a lot in the market, and I spend a lot of time on Facebook because it's my main platform. I see a lot of people just regurgitating information, and not their content doesn't have any uniqueness, any story, any. People are just putting information and copying and pasting information from each other, and not putting it any uniqueness in their content. And that is key, because you need to stand out. And the way you stand out, the best way to stand out is to be yourself, is to put yourself out there with your imperfections, your stories, who you are, and that will attract people to you.
Completely agree.
Any
I completely agree, because there is only one you. You are very unique, and your vulnerabilities, your story makes you very unique. We will never know the challenges that other people have, and it's the same thing as your vulnerabilities will also give you material for posting. It also makes you more relatable, and understanding where your audience is, where they are on their journey, asking the questions, but not only asking the questions, but also listening. Because, there have been days that I would just go through posts and I would read actually different people's posts, their lives I would listen to. But at the end of the day, the ones that you resonate with, the ones that actually add value, are the ones that actually tell their story. That's why the importance of the story really gives you value, and people will remember your story more than a statement or an inspiration or.
Yep.
So like André always teaches, if you can make a story of where you're going or what you've done, people can relate and they will remember it more than just, saying a generic statement or writing, like from a third person, because, it's a relatability factor, I know it's very hard. I mean, I even to this day get a little bit anxious when I talk about my story, because, we have this perfection, right? But you will never reach perfection. I mean, everything that you do on your journey is your journey. Nobody can actually say exactly what is right or what is wrong. They can help you getting from A to B, but at the end of the day, what you're willing to put in is the same thing that you will get out. It's energy, right? I mean,
Yeah.
some people think
Yeah.
that investing is not a good idea of getting a mentor or a coach, but the reality is, money is renewable energy. The more you put in, the more you get out. You need to get not only just investing in it, you got to be coachable, and you actually have to, implement what you're being told. That's the thing, very important, because you have to decide. You're making actually a new business, right? Being into affiliate marketing, and you have to treat it that way, right? You have to do the non-negotiables. You have to discipline yourself. You have to gain the habits. It's not just, telling your story and then, okay, people are going to come, or you put out a link and people are just going to click on it. It's actually you getting the skills to actually implement what you're being told, and where, the coach or the mentor is telling you to tweak this or that, because they have already gone to that journey and they see your blind spots. And that's why I think it's very important. That's why I enjoy working with André.
Thank you so much. And what you said about being uncomfortable to put yourself out there, I had the same. So I was an introvert. So for me, thinking about doing a Facebook Live, if you asked me 4 years ago, are you going to do a Facebook Live in your business? I would say never. So it's a journey of constantly putting yourself out there. Even for posting photos of myself was uncomfortable. I was not very active on social media before the business, and that's why I removed friends and family from my Facebook, and I just used the Facebook profile for business, because I was not even active on Facebook before the business. So even posting photos of myself was uncomfortable. So it's a journey of constantly putting or constantly taking steps outside of your comfort zone, and it happens to everyone. Some people are more, for some people it's easier to put themselves out there, for other people it's harder. For me it was hard, for you it was hard, and it's something that gets easier over time. For example, the lives now are easy for me, because I've been practicing for years. When you put yourself out there consistently, it becomes easier. So the key is to take that first step, that second step, that third step, and then it becomes comfortable. And another thing you said that is key is implementation, because what we see a lot in the industry is people trying to buy a program, get everything done for them, and see the money coming in without having to do anything, just sitting on the beach and seeing the commissions on their phone. And that's not real. Okay, we need to do the work. We need to take action. We need to learn the skills. So all those things need to be done for us to be able to build a sustainable business, and that's key. Okay, so thanks for sharing that.
You know, if you take imperfect action, is better taking than not taking any action.
Being visible is also super hard for me. Yeah, it's a challenge to a lot of people, but again, if you want this bad enough, if you have a strong why, if you have a strong motivation to do this, you'll start taking these steps outside of your comfort zone, and it will become easy eventually. So it's just that first step, that second step, you need to really force yourself to do it. And if you have a strong motivation to do it, it becomes a bit easier. It's still hard, but that motivation will make you do whatever it takes. I've never been money focused. In fact, I have been accused of not caring enough about money. I'm pretty good at on one-on-one face-to-face relationships. So glad to hear again that I just need to put myself out there. Glad this was helpful. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. So if you can, if you are good at interacting with people, that's a skill that is very useful online. Very, very useful, because if you start building relationships with people, you'll start having people paying attention to you based on those relationships that you start building with them, and that makes it easier for you to start having an audience that starts paying attention to you, and to start nurturing those people. So use that skill, because that skill is very, very useful. It's a skill that I had to learn from scratch, how to talk with people. I didn't have any experience in selling or in how to approach one-to-one conversation. For example, starting a new conversation and connecting with someone cold. I didn't have any experience on that, but if you have that, that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes, so hard. Gwen?
I think one of the hardest thing is that, you know, it's not just being money focused. It's actually just really implementing, because we all have this ability to communicate. But at the end of the day, you know, how effective are you into communicating to get what you need? I mean, there's always so much miscommunication. Even your perception of, you know, what you're doing and what you're communicating may be construed differently to when somebody else listens to it. That's why I think, you know, it's not just communicating, it's also listening to the needs and wants of the other person. And in any
That's it.
conversation, I've always learned that, you know, you have to be agreeable, because everybody has their own opinions. You will actually, as time passes, you will also see, unfortunately, some trolls, you know, as you start to see success. But, you know, at the end of the day, hurt people, right? And you must understand that, you know, you have value. Do not allow it to stop you from communicating, adding the value. You know, you
Yeah.
have something that other people need. And if you prevent yourself or even limit yourself from not, you know, giving the value to other people, because your message could actually resonate with thousands of people. But by you being scared or not actually showing your story, you know, it's actually doing a disservice to other people. So, you know,
But
I always encourage you guys to do that.
yeah, there was a sentence. I interviewed Ian Stanley a few years ago here in the group, and he said a sentence that I'll never forget, which is, It's okay to be scared. It's not okay to let fear stop you. It's okay to be scared. It's not okay to let fear stop you. Okay, being scared is completely normal. We are humans. We have emotions, right? But we cannot let the fear stop us. That's the key. Okay, so basically, we are in the phase of your journey. You started your business. You started working with all these funnels, this tech, which was a big challenge for you, and you spent some time in this phase of building funnels and using them for your systems. So how long did you spend in this phase of the funnels and the done for your systems?
I would say that, I thought it would work. I really thought it was going to work. And I just didn't have the time because with work, something has to give. So I just allowed it to continue. It was probably about 6 to 8 months. And I realized that, it's not going to work. Either I give up or I have to try to continue. And I'm kind of stubborn that way. I won't give up.
So you were not able to launch your funnels and start getting traffic, right? So you got stuck in the tech phase, and you never got past that phase, right?
Because I realized that I didn't understand the foundations. Because you're basically triaging, you're allowing basically outsourcing what you need to learn, and at the end of the day, you have to understand the foundations. There is nothing greater than understanding the foundations, no matter who's doing it for you. But what I thought was that I could actually have somebody do the tech for me and that it would be very simple. Then I would just get the passive income, right? But it doesn't work that way. And I started realizing, and also at the time, I actually had a loss in my family and it really devastated me. That's why one of the most important things that I felt during that time was having somebody on the journey with me. And that was André, and he helped me a lot. Because mindset, it will really get you out of the game, no matter how open-minded you are. And we don't really understand how great our mind is. It has unlimited potential, but also it can also make you go down very quickly. Your emotional health is very important. And you can also see it based on COVID itself. As a healthcare provider, I saw a lot of mental illnesses. I saw a lot of unfortunate things that happen to people, no matter what stage of life they are in. You saw movie stars, you saw, K-pop people. It happens. Basically our ability to control our minds, our thoughts makes our reality. So if you are able to,
back.
yeah.
Okay. Not sure what happened. It showed a message saying something went wrong in StreamYard. So, but you can continue.
Okay. I just wanted to say that, mindset is such a big issue, no matter what journey you're going on, no matter if it's in your life or this, affiliate marketing or business. It is so important. And sometimes having that some person that can help you guide you, because there have been days that I'm not going to lie, I wanted to give up, but I knew that, what's the worst that can happen? What's the best that can happen? I give up. All the work that I've done is gone. It's better to do and implement than just stop. So that's how I saw it.
Yeah, and in those phases when we are stuck, the best thing to do is always to get help. So in my journey, I invested a lot of money into mentors, into coaches, because every time I got stuck, every time I didn't have the next step, I always looked for that help. When I started shifting my mindset, because at the beginning I didn't want to invest in myself, because my mindset was I want to save as much money as possible, and I don't want to invest in myself. And then my mindset started shifting as I started facing challenges and not being able to make progress. I started looking for help and eventually started investing heavily in myself. So that's really important, and it really helps with accelerating results. So you were sharing about the importance of having help and having a coach along the way. So what attracted you to the idea of working together with me?
To me, it was a no-brainer after all the things that I experienced. No matter if I was a student or not a student of yours, you still answer the questions. You're very patient. You always added value. Even like on your coachings, no matter if you're a student or not, you always say, make a comment, and I'll get back to you. And that's very true. And I believe that, sometimes it's hard to know who to trust. It's that know, like, and trust. And at the point I was struggling, I saw the challenges. And I think it's you being able to listen and actually implementing and giving me suggestions that made the difference. At the end of the day, we all want to be heard, right? It's kind of like when you buy a product. Everybody has the lowest price, but it's the aftercare that makes the difference. And I think, your patience and your willingness to add value, how hard you work. When I wasn't even a student of yours, I just said, how I could just imagine when I am a student of yours, how much more effort you're going to put in. So, that really made it a no-brainer to me. Like when, you approached me like, okay, I have this mentorship. I, have this program. It's new. I said, yes, definitely, you really built the relationship you nurtured. You actually exemplify exactly what you tell us in the coaching, build the relationships, be of value, give without expecting anything in return. And I saw that, at first on this journey, I was very anxious, and I've learned so much working with you. And, I was always the first person that's like, okay, I didn't get the results. What did I do wrong? It's like, relax, it'll be okay. And I got to the point that what we call the valley of despair, right? I wanted to give up everything. And it was difficult because, you see, and unfortunately in our society, we have this comparison. But as Eleanor Roosevelt says, comparison is a thief of joy. And, being in a situation of lack, of not getting results, the doubt, the uncertainty, it's not a good place to be. You just have to work harder. You have to implement. You have to get the skills. It's all an acquisition of skills and implementing, practicing the repetition. And that's what you've taught me. And I'm glad have been working with you. It makes a difference.
Thank you so much.
Choosing the right mentor and choosing the right person that's willing to coach you. Not only does that resonate to you, are they willing to take on the worst days? Because I think there's been many times that Andre's saying the worst of me. And, I was really in a bad situation. So thank you, Andre.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And one thing that I want to emphasize in what you said is the listening part, because that's a skill that is crucial. I've realized over the years that I've been online how crucial that skill is, and I even did a live recently here in the group about that skill, because a lot of people don't listen. So, and if you guys are on Facebook consistently, and you are receiving DMs from people, you see how a lot of people don't listen, and they just have a goal of putting a product in front of you, and they don't even care they don't even care understanding what's happening in your business, how they can help you, what's your problem, and they just want to put the product in front of you. And what I realized in this journey is that listening is one of the most important skills we need to have, not only in the affiliate marketing space, but in anything in life. But being able to listen to what people, for example, in the conversation, what's the problem people are facing, so you can understand what's the real problem, and you can see if you can help them. Listening to the people in your audience and seeing what they are struggling with, so you can use that as content ideas to give them what they need to solve the problems they have and achieve the results they want. So there are multiple scenarios where listening is important. When you are on a call and you are talking with people to understand if you can help them or not, you need to listen and pay attention to what people say to see if you have a solution to help them or not. So it's a very, very crucial skill. And I remember perfectly how you joined my audience. So it was not from a friend request that I sent you. It was you found my group because you searched on Facebook or wherever it was, or Facebook suggested my group to you, but you found my group and you joined my group organically. And then I sent you a friend request and we connected and you started consuming my content. So what the mistake I see a lot of people making in that first interaction is going for the product right away. Okay. They have a new group member or a new people in their audience, they jump the gun and start pitching. Okay. And what I teach you guys to do and what I do in my business that you just explained is, okay, I have a new audience member, I'm going to connect with them and I'm going to give without asking for anything in return. Okay. And that's what I've seen in these last few years is the best approach for you guys to nurture your relationships and having people pay attention to you and wanting to get more from you and to work with you eventually is when you give without ask without asking for anything in return, and you listen. Those two things. You listen to their problems, to what's happening in their business, in their life, whatever niche you are focusing on, and you give without asking for anything in return. Okay? Even if they never buy from you. Okay? Even if they never buy from you, you keep giving and giving and giving and giving. Because the majority of your audience will never buy from you, and that's totally fine. Okay? You are still helping them even if they never buy from you. So you need to have a mindset of helping people and helping them improve their lives or their business or their health or their relationships, whatever niche it is. That needs to be your mindset, because the more you focus on serving people, the more you will win eventually and the more your business will grow. Okay, so that's a big one that you shared there. So you talked about adding value and giving without asking anything in return. So that's very, very important. Anything else on that part?
Yeah, I mean, we're here to just help, truthfully.
Yeah.
Selling is actually serving people. It has, I mean, we all have this image, the stereotype of the used car mill. Just sell, 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 sell. Get the, but that eagerness, excuse me, is that people don't want to be sold to.
Yeah.
They want value. They want to know how you can solve their problem.
Yeah.
And that begins with you listening to where they are.
Yeah.
And like André says, you have to nurture the relationship. Do not be attached to the outcome. No matter if they sell, no matter if they buy or not, it's okay. Because they will always remember you in terms of how you presented the option to them. Everybody has different buying reasons, right? But there's always only one objection, it's how you handle the objections and how you're able to put a good impression and uplift that person after the sale, right? Because it makes a difference.
It's important also after the sale to deliver. If you guys are affiliates, of course it's not delivered by yourself, but you can still give to people even if you are an affiliate after the sale. That's something I did a lot in my journey when I was promoting affiliate products, was giving support to my customers. So that's very important. Yeah.
Because I think it's not just the price that people, it's the value and what, we are sold every day. Everything is a sale, no matter if it's in your relationships, when you buy things, but there are different factors of why we want to purchase something, but at the end of the day, it is just, will it solve the problem that I have? Will it provide a solution? How aggressive was that person? We've all experienced different selling situations, but what makes the difference is even when you wanted, because people, window shop, other people, they will go to different and shop from one shop to another, right? Comparing this factor, that factor. But, It's your impression that you leave with the person. Will they buy it from you? Maybe they weren't ready at that moment. They maybe number you a couple months from now, like how you presented yourself, how you presented these options. You were able to solve it. You weren't aggressive. I mean, it's your demeanor, it's your personality. People don't just buy based on price. And I realize that,
Yeah,
your ability to effectively communicate is one of the most important foundations, no matter what you're selling. If it's a relationship, if it's a product, if it's a service, you have to be leaving that person uplifted, no matter if they purchase or not. Do not be
exactly.
attached to the outcome of that they had to buy. They don't. So
Exactly. And what we see a lot in the space um is people trying to be pushy, and if people don't, if people say no, they start doing very hardcore objection handling, and that can burn the relationship. So in my opinion, and what you said is the same, basically, is prioritizing the relationship over anything else. So even if people say no, it's totally cool. We are not there to twist arms and to get people to buy and buy and buy today. If they say no, it's not the right time, totally cool. We can revisit it when it's a good time. If they want, if they don't want, totally cool. Okay. We keep showing up, we keep delivering the value to our audiences, we keep taking the action, and if they buy or not, it's we need to be detached from the outcome. We cannot be attached to people saying yes. Okay, and
I
that
was
builds very strong relationships.
I was very eager to get sales very much at the beginning.
It happens to
And
everyone.
I would often ask Andre, how do I persuade? How do I convince? How do I Andre would always tell me, you don't have to. They just have to acknowledge that they have a problem, and your ability to handle that situation is what will make them buy or not. You don't have to convince, you don't have to persuade. And it wasn't just one time, it wasn't even two times. It's many times. And it's sometimes it didn't click to me until I started realizing this on the journey. So it does make a difference. You do not need to convince.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. If you have the two things we talked, the listening, the giving without asking for anything in return, and you care about people, and in the interaction that you are having with them, you pay attention to what they say, and you see if you have a solution to solve the problem they have, and you only present the offer if you have a solution, because if you don't have a solution and you are presenting a product that is not a good fit for them, don't do it, please. Only present an offer to someone that offer can help them solve the problems they have and achieve the results they want. um, and prioritizing the relationship. So if people say no, you don't twist arms, you don't try to convince them, you don't try to persuade them to buy today. You just say it's totally cool, and the relationship is what is important. Okay, I've had people telling me no, and then after 6 months saying yes, because they were not ready. But when they said no, if I was pushy, if I started trying to convince them, if I started twisting arms, that yes, 6 months later would not happen. It would burn the relationship. That's why relationships are so important and should be the priority, in my opinion.
Exactly. I mean, you need to understand the product or whatever service you are providing or trying to sell or even trying to recommend. Because at the end of the day, if you don't even understand how it can help them, what are the intangibles? What will they encounter? They will come back and say, I didn't get the results. It's not that they didn't get the results. It's like when one of my other mentors told me that it's kind of like a treadmill. It's not that you don't get results, it's that you didn't do the work. So you have to do the work and you have to understand the product. You really have to understand the product
Yeah,
and how it can help them,
yeah,
because how you present it, everybody can present the same product. However, understanding, engaging the situation to seeing what their pain points are, what their struggles are, what their challenges are, Is it a right fit? Because recommending the wrong product to the right person is not going to make them be very happy, because it doesn't solve their problem. You're giving them a solution that they can, be happy with. Because if they're happy, you're happy. It's a win-win situation. If
Exactly.
you help enough people get what they want, you will get what you want. I mean, it's just a simple concept.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. I see a few more comments. I'm building a funnel. I've had to set it aside to learn the fundamentals of marketing and sales first. Exactly. And we have been working on that. Danny is also a client and working in my group coaching program. Learning not to jump. That's crucial. And we are so eager to make that first sale at the beginning that we jump the gun and we go straight to it. We need to slow down. And I've made a post recently about this. We need to slow down. The ability to slow down and give first without asking for anything in return, it's one of the best things we can develop in our businesses. So we talked about your journey before we started working together. We talked about the reasons that made you want to start working together. So since we started, what were the biggest wins that you were able to achieve, not only monetary but also non-monetary? So what mindset shifts, what perspective shifts you had? You already talked about a few, but if you can just recap and share a bit more about the mindset shifts you had and the wins you were able to achieve since we started working together.
I think the biggest win is that you hit the nail on the head. It's a mindset. It's, you go starting out on the journey. It's very simple, but it isn't easy. It's understanding your mindset, because it's how do you deal with the challenges? How do you deal with the wins? How do you deal with people that are trolling you? How are you able to deal with the good days, the bad days, the days that you don't want to do it, the disciplines, the habits? It's all in your mindset. You have to be able to control your thoughts, no matter if it's a good or a bad day. And going on this journey, one of the big things besides the monetary is the mindset. I think it's one of the hardest things to conquer, no matter if you've been in business or not been in business. I mean, even as a healthcare provider, I provided so much information. I can regurgitate so many medications, but at the end of the day, it's never the long-term relationship of actually having to sell, understanding, because they are in a problem situation. They want a solution. So I just give them the answer and they're on their way. But when you're on this journey of, high-tech affiliate marketing, it's understanding, how do you sell? How do you market? How do you, take care of your own mindset when you do get a sale or you don't get a sale? How do you, post, and if the traffic is good, if the audience likes you or they don't like you? It's all mindset issues. And for me, it was even more difficult because I had a few losses this year. And it was to the point that I wanted to really give up. I just didn't see any purpose of this anymore. Not only, in the high affiliate marketing. I mean, I'm just being very transparent. It was difficult. But it's having somebody along the way that, on the bad days, okay, hey, I'm having issues. You're like, okay, Cathy, we can deal with this, I mean, take one step at a time. I mean, it's reassuring that somebody is willing to go the extra mile for you, and it makes a difference. I don't think any other program brings as much, humanity, as much patience as this program does. And it's always being updated, and maybe, sometimes some of the stories that I tell André, he also uses to, teach other people. And I don't mind, because this journey is not, instant gratification. It takes work. So I wanted to say that, mindset is one of the biggest things that you will encounter, not only on this journey, but probably in life, and how you can deal with it. That's why I think this program is really important in understanding, inside the business and outside, because it will help you deal with how you make sales. It will allow you to deal with, your emotional health, how you deal with situations, because everything is, unfortunately, or maybe even fortunately, is a sale. How I see life now is everything is almost a sale.
Yeah,
So
so sales is everywhere. Yeah, but what you shared about mindset is crucial. Mindset is 80% of this game. It's 80% of this game.
yeah, and
Um,
learning to be the disciplined person and build the habits, know what the non-negotiables are. I mean, the days that you don't want to do, these 1, 2, and 3, you have to do it. You know that this is going to make you go further into, getting you the sales, the business. It's not, it doesn't end with one sale. It doesn't end with 10
yeah,
sales.
yeah,
That's, you still have to go, right? I mean, when you're in a 9 to 5 job, you just do the work and okay, I've done my job for the day. But, when you're your own boss, these are things you have to think about. How do you
yeah,
deal with these situations?
yeah.
So it's been
And
a learning experience.
for those starting, um, don't think that when you start making sales, the mindset problems will disappear, because they don't. The mindset problems are still there even after you make sales. To this day, I have mindset problems. Some days there are once a month, 1 day a month, 2 days a month that I'm feeling down on my mindset. It happens to everyone. Okay, but you learn how to deal with it, with the experience. Okay, for example, at the beginning, I would have a mindset issue and it would affect me for a week or 2 weeks. Now it affects me 1 day, but I still show up and do the work because I learned how to deal with it. And those are the tools that I try to teach you guys to use, so you guys can, even when having those negative thoughts and wanting to give up, and because we all have those phases, is having the tools necessary to deal with it, to accept that you are feeling, that you are having that feeling. Because what we tend to do, and what I used to do before, was to try to repress the feeling. I was beating myself up for feeling bad, and I learned to accept that as a normal thing. And when you accept it, it doesn't get worse. But when you try to repress it, it gets way worse. So it's accepting that you are not feeling well, and working on that and improving, and keep learning every single day. And with the experience, you start learning how to deal with those mindset problems, and you start not letting it affect you so much as in the beginning. So mindset is crucial.
Exactly.
And there were and sorry to interrupt you, there were a lot of, and I think you don't mind me sharing this, there were multiple phases where you wanted to give up. Um and if you gave up and you didn't stick with it, these results would not have happened. So that's why we need to work so much on our mindset, so we keep going, because sometimes we are closer to the sale, much closer to the sale than we think, much closer to the breakthrough than we think. Okay, and there is that meme, that guy that is very close to the gold, and he stops, and the other guy that keeps going. You guys probably know what I'm talking about. So it's it's sticking with it and not giving up, and keep working on the mindset along the way, because again, mindset can really stop you from taking action completely. And it's not the money that will fix the mindset problems. You need to work on yourself.
Exactly. I mean, I think that's one thing that when you start your journey, you think it's very simple and it's very easy. Everybody markets it that it's very simple. But as you're going on your journey, the challenges you experience, even though you heard about it, Andre speaks about it, until you experience it, you don't really understand, how hard it can be. And I
Yeah,
think that makes the biggest difference. And it's your ability to be consistent, it's your ability to be persistent that will actually get you the prize, or,
yeah,
the conditions. Because there will never, it's not, as I said, it's not just in this business, it's actually what you take and you can implement it in your life too. Because if you think your business is isolated, it isn't. It's going to evolve around your life. And,
yeah,
you want it to be that digital nomad, or, you still have to deal with people. I mean, there are pillars in life, that you have, like health, wealth, the relationships, and your purpose. And understanding those four, pillars, it's not isolated. You need wealth, you need health. Because what's the purpose of having all the money if you don't have the health, right?
Exactly.
And these are things that I learned on this journey working with Andre.
Yeah.
So, he has a wealth of information. He's experienced a lot and he's helped me
Thank you.
tremendously. So I'm very grateful for that. That's why
Thank
I'm
you.
more than happy to share my knowledge and whatever I can with you guys in this group.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for everything you shared so far. And what I want to dive into now is basically if you can explain a bit more of how that $4,000 commission happened. So how you were able to make that 15K deal happen, because it was a 15K deal and you made a $4,000 commission. So can you tell us a bit more about how you approached the situation, how it happened, so people can understand better how you were able to achieve that result?
I think, like what you've always told us from the very beginning, is nurturing the relationship. They say that people will not buy, the first time, the second time. They may need to be exposed multiple times to the product. And it gets to the point that, how are you able to gauge the situation? How can you solve the problem for that person? Do you have that solution? Understanding their challenges, their pain points. I mean, it takes everything, and it's a full implementation. I mean, it's not a simple, this is one reason that I
Yeah.
made the sale. It's, building your brand, the know, like, and trust factor. It's nurturing the relationship. It's, gaining trust. It's, solving their issues. Can you answer their objections? Can you handle their objections? What is their dominant buying motive? How can this product solve their problem? But you don't even have to sell it. I think the best sale, and which I experience, is that they have to acknowledge that they have a problem that they want a solution for. I mean, that's probably the essence of this, commission.
Yeah.
I cannot say that I did it alone. I mean, I have to say that, it's been many months. It was many, different techniques and strategies, understanding, implementing, taking the action, understanding the mindset of the person based on my own experiences. So I don't think any high ticket, truly more than probably a 2K commission, is going to take a lot of exposure. It's going to take a lot of understanding, how to sell, how to close, how to make the person understand that they need it, that this is going to provide the solution for them. All their
Yeah.
needs and wants can be solved. I can't really say that, this is just one point and I made the commission. No, I don't think that's the answer.
Yeah, so there is no secret act to make a sale like this happen. It's a consistent work first in developing your skills, because for you to make that happen, you had to know what you were doing when it comes to building trust, when it comes to identifying a problem, which are the two things that are necessary for people to be open to explore your solution. They need to have a problem to solve and they need to trust you. And you talked about those two. So you were talking with this person, you had an interaction with them, and you identified the problem. And over time, you build trust with them, so they became open to your help because they started getting value from you, and they saw that you were listening to what they were saying. They saw that you cared about them and helping them solve the problem they had. And when you identified that this person was looking for a solution, you presented that solution, and that's how it happened, right?
Correct. And also, it's not just that you sold them the product, it's the aftercare. Like I always mentioned before, like Andre taught me, is that, even buying the solution, people will always have questions. Are you
Yeah.
still there to help them, after the product is purchased? or the service is given. If they do have issues, you're not just gone tomorrow just because of the sale. I mean, that's never our intention. But there have been products that I've even purchased that I didn't get that aftercare. I bought the product because it was a shiny object syndrome, but the aftercare, or they pivoted because they were getting different mentions and people were unsatisfied. So it boils down to doing the research and understanding that you can actually understand the product well enough that you can actually provide value to them even after they purchase it. It doesn't end by just selling the product. It actually continues, I guess, the journey.
Yeah.
You're just helping them also. Because the likelihood is if you can sell them one product, you could probably sell them more products because they see how, you continue on their journey with them.
If they have a good experience with one product, yeah. So because a buyer is a buyer is a buyer is a buyer. If someone buys from you once, they will want more if they have a good experience in the first purchase. So that's key. And what you talked about, not having to convince, because so what removes a lot of effort from the sales process is what happens before the sales process. That's the key. If you don't want to be spending a lot of time convincing people and persuading people, put more effort on what happens before they even reach the point of entering in a sales conversation with you. By the way you give, by the way you show up to help them, to give value without asking anything in return. You produce content, you show up consistently, giving value, giving without asking for anything in return. When it comes to the point of having that sales conversation, they are open to you. They are open to your help. So it's much easier than if you go to someone cold and you try to pitch a product. There, you need to do a lot of convincing, because they don't trust you as someone who can help them solve the problem they have. But if you slow down, you let them consume your stuff. Every time you interact with them, you give. And you have patience, eventually they are ready. Eventually they say, I'm open to your help. I want to know more about how you can help me. And that's when it happens. It's when they are pre-sold on you. So that's the pre-selling phase of your business. If you put more weight on the pre-selling, you need to do less work on the selling. Okay? That's why content is so important. Because if you don't produce any content, you need to do everything in the conversation. Okay? So the content is doing a lot of heavy lifting for you and building those relationships for you. And if you have patience and you give people time to consume your stuff, eventually they are going from cold to warm to hot. Basically, a cold lead is someone that doesn't know you, doesn't like you, doesn't trust you. A warm lead is someone that starts paying attention to you. A hot lead is someone that is ready to explore your offer, your solution, to help them. Okay, they are going in this journey from cold to warm to hot by spending time with you in your content, in your interactions with them, and you do a good job in giving without asking for anything in return. They are moving in this journey, and when they are hot, that's when the conversation happens, not when they are cold. You can do when they are cold, but you are going to spend a lot of time and trying to convince a lot of people and not have much success, because I can speak from experience, because I did the cold to offer in the beginning of my journey. I tried it, and it was a waste of time. Now that I look back, but when you have this approach of giving before you ask for anything in return, when people reach the point of having the conversation with you to see if you can help them, they are pre-sold on you and they are open to you and to your help. And that's the key, in my opinion.
Exactly. When the pain of just staying the same is greater than the pain of change, they will change. They will actually.
They need to have a problem.
Yeah. Acknowledging the problem. Because if
Exactly.
person doesn't, like André says, if a person, you can sell them all day. If they don't even think that they have a problem, they will never buy.
Exactly.
And sometimes, they may say they don't have a problem, but you listen. and you try to get into the little tidbits of, this is a challenge, this is a struggle, because nobody, until they know, like, and trust you, will actually start to share these things. So that's
Yeah.
one of the foundations.
Yeah, those details of their struggles and what's stopping them from making progress, people don't share that with someone they don't trust. And that's why if you ask those questions to someone cold, you get ghosted, people get defensive because they don't trust you. Okay, so that's very important, is to those two things always: problem and trust. If you keep these two in mind, you'll be good always. Does this person have a problem? Does this person trust me? If you see these two, you have the green light to ask, are you open for help? And it can go from there. If those two are not in place, it's your job. If the trust is not in place, it's your job to build the trust. And you build the trust by giving without asking for anything in return. The problem, if you see they have a problem but they don't know they have the problem, they are not problem aware, it's your job in your content, in your interaction with them, to show them why that's a problem, or to create that problem awareness. And that's a bit more advanced, and I'm not going deep into that here. But always keep these two in mind: trust and problem. When these two are in place, you have the green light to ask if they are open for your help, because they have the two beliefs necessary for them to be open to you and to your solution. It's hard when they tell you that they don't see you as their solution. So that usually comes from a lack of trust, or because the problem they have is not something that you can help them solve. Okay, so when they trust you and when they have a problem that you can help them solve, usually people are open because they trust you and they are open to you. Okay, but it takes time to build that trust. Okay, trust takes time to build, and it takes 1 second to lose. Okay, this is important. So it takes time to build trust, but it takes 1 second to lose trust. Okay, if you are pushy once, if you do something that they don't like once, trust is lost in 1 second. But it takes a long time to build trust. So you need to focus on building that trust and keeping that trust with the focus on the relationship. That's key. Can you tell us a bit more about the size of your audience? It's around 700, right?
That's right. About 760 right now, but it's more of quality than the quantity. I know they always teach you to add friends, and but the reality is that you could actually do, like they say, like TikToks and Instagrams, or even like YouTube Shorts, and have a video go viral. But how sustainable is that, right? It's just because you were able to entice them for the moment. But you really need to add value. You need to understand what is your avatar, what is the demographic, what is the psychographics, what keeps them up at night, what are the pain points that they would have, what were the pain points that you had going on this journey. And understanding that is probably more important in getting your sales and understanding, because I'm always trying to add, but adding friends is an intangible. You cannot have complete control over that. People resonate, they don't resonate, it doesn't make the difference. You're just out there. I mean, if there's one thing I can tell you from this session, is that you want to add value. No matter if you get a sale or you don't get a sale, just be detached from the outcome, because the easier, the better you make other people's lives, the better your life will be. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a key part of the process that we implement, which is, if you are not able to monetize a small audience, it's not just because you have bigger numbers that you'll be able to monetize. Because if you have a bucket with holes and you pour more water into the bucket and it has holes, it doesn't matter how much water you put into the bucket, it will still drop. But if you fix the holes in the bucket, your need for more water disappears. And that's what's happening with when you are trying to get a lot of traffic and you don't fix your nurturing process. Your nurturing process being broken is the holes in the bucket. So if you don't have a process in place to nurture your audience, to build trust, to move them in this customer journey, so they become open to work with you, and you are just trying to get more and more and more and more traffic, you are pouring water into a bucket full of holes. Okay, that's why I talk with a lot of people every day, and I talk with people that have audiences of 15,000 people, 20,000 people, and they are not being able to monetize those audiences. But you, with the 700 people audience, were able to monetize and make a $4,000 commission. Okay, why? Because you focused on the nurturing process, and when you have your nurturing process fixed, and you get more traffic, then getting more traffic makes sense because it's traffic that is entering a bucket that is fixed. Okay, but until you have your nurturing process fixed and working well, adding more traffic will not solve your problems. It's not the numbers that solve your problems. It's not getting a bigger audience that solves your problems. Because again, if you cannot monetize a small audience, you'll not be able to monetize a big audience. That's why I've put a big focus in my business in the nurturing process, in the way I approach these relationships and these trust building process with my audience members, and that's what I teach my students. For example, in my case, I went from 0 to 6 figures, and this group had less than 1,400 people, 1,400 members. So with an audience size with less than 1,400 people in this group. Okay, so why? Because the key is in that nurturing process. The key is in those relationships that you build, and that's a perspective shift I had along the way in my journey. I was always chasing more and more and more traffic, and I thought that was my problem. It was always lack of traffic. But I was trying to get more traffic, and I was not nurturing the people that were already following me, that were already consuming my content. And those create the easiest opportunities in your business. Those that are already consuming, that are already warmer. Okay, it's a matter of putting that nurturing process in place and shifting the focus from getting more eyeballs to nurturing the eyeballs you already have.
Exactly. I mean, add as much quality and nurture the audience you have. Because
and it needs to be the right people. That's another point you mentioned that is key. So it needs to be the right people. So based on the target customer that you define. So you need to define your target customer, understand who are the people you need to attract, and in your audience you need to have those right people. Okay, and that's why target customer is so important, because it allows you to know who are the right people and what's the message you need to put in front of them to nurture them and to build that trust.
Very true. Very true. What you do, sometimes I think it's on this journey, it's not, we see so much noise on the outside, but the reality is that, the more you work on yourself in terms of like where you are on your journey, how you can help, you will get further on this journey and you will actually help more people. And I see that as one of the elements that is very essential.
Any final words, Katie?
Wherever you guys are on your journey, don't give up. Like Andre says, it's not a matter of if, it's just when. And allowing yourself, time and grace, and build that relationship with whatever audience. The good days, the bad days, the days that you think that, they say that, you don't have the answer or you're not the person that's giving them the solution. It's just one person. Don't be attached to the outcome. It's just giving you a chance to practice and to implement. And the better you start to, acquire the skills and start to implement, and the repetition will get you the results. So there's no reason, it's a competition between you and yourself. It's not a competition with you and everybody else. So that's how I see it. So thank you for listening today. And I appreciate you all spending your time and listening to this session. And thank you, Andre, for everything you've done.
Thank you so much for everything, and for all the kind words, and for everything you shared.